On Sunday, Liverpool at 12 o'clock will be taking on bottom of the league Fulham. So this should be looking like the perfect opportunity for us to get back to winning ways in all competitions right now. And it should also hopefully provide us with a little bit more positivity than we are getting. Obviously, our performances this season haven't always been the best. They haven't always been good, but we've been picking up points, which we've generally been happy with. But now the performances are starting to look like that we're going to start to suffer a little bit. Okay, we struggled against Arsenal. It wasn't a good performance against Arsenal. It was a terrible performance against Red Star Belgrade at Red Star. It was a terrible, terrible performance with, there were changes in the team, people calling on Lallana to be sold and Matip saying that he's done and stuff like that as well. And I don't necessarily agree with the Matip one, but in that game, he wasn't playing very well. Lallana, for a long time, I think even when we were coming into this season, I felt that I thought he was going to struggle to get game time. Obviously, that's negated by the fact that we've had injuries in midfield, key injuries as well. But we're going to get some players back, and I like the likes of Naby Keita is coming back. Jordan Henderson is going to be back as well, and I want to see him in the team, which might surprise a few people. It's only those people that don't really support the captain. They don't like Jordan Henderson for whatever reason, but I think that he gives you something more in midfield, and he's the captain at the end of the day. I want to see him play. So, looking at this Fulham game, when you look at their form over the last 5 games, every single one of them is a loss. So that should really indicate that we should be looking to win this game. Not that it'll be an easy game. I don't go into any game thinking that it's going to be an easy game, no matter who it's against. Every team poses its problems to us and any other team in the league as well. But it should be one of those where we can look at it and go, right, okay, if we go with our front line and we go with, say, Bobby Firmino, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, bearing in mind, I can't remember or don't know if we have a game next week, like midweek or anything like that. And certainly if we don't, we should totally be going gung-ho in this game and put out all of our starters. So if we go with that front line against the worst defensive record in the league, we should be looking to get a victory. We should. So I mean, you go with that again. You put our front three can be one of the best attacking lines in European football, and you put that against the worst defensive record in the league. We should be looking to take advantage of that. We really, really should be. The thing with Fulham, they seem to they look good when they go forward. They play nice passing movements and stuff like that as well. They just don't seem to have it in the final third to actually finish moves off properly. It's at the back where they suffer the most. So that should be really where we're aiming to, take the game. Obviously, that's where everybody wants to take the game, because that's how you win games, by putting it in the back of the net. But you can't do it all with just your front line. You're going to need your midfield there, and you need a good midfield. Now, the midfield that we put out against Red Star, I felt was wrong. When we went with Adam Lallana, I think Gini Wijnaldum and Milner, it's too static. People would say that Lallana's a creative player. He was. He certainly was a creative player. Right now, he just doesn't have the legs in him to do that sort of role. So, for me, whether people like it or not, I want to go with a bit of steel in midfield, and I want to go with Fabinho, and I want to go with Henderson, with Naby Keita in there. And I know quite a lot of people will turn around and say, well, what about Shaqiri? Shaqiri could totally start. And if he does start ahead of Naby Keita in that similar sort of role, I'm a massive fan of that. Totally a massive fan of that. I would like to see Naby Keita come in, after being injured for so long, come in, have a good performance in midfield, and maybe after 60 minutes or something like that, you switch it out, you bring Shaqiri on, and you've got a fresh midfield still. With Fabinho and Henderson, Fabinho gets to play alongside the captain, which means that he would probably be able to put in a more measured performance and actually fulfill his role better, because Henderson will be right there next to him, marshalling him, what he should be doing, where he should be at all times, and that'll help him on the pitch. He's played well in some of the games he's played. Against Arsenal, he suffered. I'm hoping that he can come back into the team and he can put in a good performance next to the captain. And then you've got to look at the back four as well. Obviously, back four might change a little bit. A lot of people Well, in the Red Men TV subscribers group, anyway, a lot of people are turning around saying that Trent should actually be dropped. Like, one quote I think I remember seeing just off the top of my head saying that they feel that Trent is getting too big for his boots, that he feels that he's irreplaceable. That's never the case, especially when you've got Nathaniel Klein at the club, who, while he doesn't get a look in, he is a talented right back. He's a good right back. The only thing that would be a worry for me is that he's very short of match fitness because he doesn't play games, doesn't get on the squad, doesn't get on the bench. So that would be a concern. So what is the alternative to that? The alternative for that is to change the back four a little bit, and we've seen this back four quite a few times now, which would be you put Joe Gomez at right back, you then put Lovren and Van Dijk as your centre backs, and then at left back you put Andy Robertson, and then obviously in goal it would be Alisson. For me, that is totally fine. If they go with Trent Alexander-Arnold, Gomez and Van Dijk, totally fine with that as well. But maybe it is a time to actually maybe put Trent on the bench. He hasn't been playing very well. He's been playing quite average, sometimes below average as well, and he gets caught out sometimes. So maybe it is a good idea to put Gomez there, put Lovren on the pitch, put Van Dijk there as well, and obviously Andy Robertson, just because he's a better player than Alberto Moreno. And Moreno looks like he's on his way out anyway. So that's my run through of the team. Obviously, if you go with that starting 11, you've still got a strong bench, which would feature the likes of Shaqiri, Daniel Sturridge. You know, you've still got Milner on the bench as well. You'd have Wijnaldum on the bench as well. So I think that could actually be a really good good starting 11 to go with. I don't really know a great deal of Fulham's players. The ones that stand out, Andre Schürrle, that I know. Obviously, Ryan Sessegnon was very, very good in the Championship, but hasn't, in my opinion, from what I've seen, which is limited, hasn't been able to transform that into the Premier League. However, I would say it's partly because the rest of his team haven't stepped up to the level of the Premier League. They were very good in the Championship. When you look at what they were doing in the Championship and the football they were playing there, they were good. Now, whether that's down to the recruitment of Fulham and whether they have not recruited as good as they could have, that's on them. And maybe it's also down to the coaching as well. You know, when you've got the worst defensive record in the league and you're bottom of the league, that says something. That really says something. At some point, you have to turn around and say, right, we like playing attacking football, but you're not a team that is going to outscore your opponents. So some teams can do it. Some teams can have a leaky defence, but they can make up with it with loads and loads of goals. Right now, Fulham have a leaky defence and they don't score loads of goals. So what are they going to do to solve that? Are they going to be bottom for a long, long time? Have people just figured out quite early on, this is how you play against Fulham? You just go at them, stay defensively solid, which we've done well up until the Red Star game. But in the Premier League, at least, I think we've still only conceded 5 goals or something like that. At least I think our goal difference is I think we've only conceded 4 or 5, one of the two. So we've got a good defence. We've got a very good defence for the first time in God knows how long. So not only are they going to come up, Mitrovic and all those guys are going to come up against like Van Dijk, Gomez, Lovren perhaps, Alisson in goal as well, Andy Robertson. They've got to try and get through our midfield if they set up how I want us to, with Henderson and Fabinho, and then you've got Naby Keita or Shaqiri, whichever one, and then you've got a front line that should be able to hopefully have the biggest kick up the arse this week and actually start, providing. It's good enough, they've scored 4 goals against Red Star when we played at home. And maybe that'll be a good thing for us that we're playing this game at Anfield. That they'll actually be able to, for some reason, free-flowing play and score some goals. And we're going to need to. We're going to need to instill some confidence in the fan base. I think a lot of expectations have been put on this Liverpool squad because of Manchester City and what they've done and what they are doing. I think they scored 6 goals in the Champions League the other night. I think, they're routinely scoring a lot of goals. Right now, all I'm focused on is Liverpool performing better, playing better football, and picking up the 3 points as much as possible. That's all I'm focused on. Not focused on what Chelsea are doing, what City are doing, what United and Tottenham and all that lot are doing. I don't care. I honestly don't care. I'd love us to obviously I'd love us to run as far as we can in the title race. And obviously, every single one of us would love to win the title. But when you're coming up against teams like Man City, who I think someone said what we are this year, what Liverpool are this year, is similar to what Man City were last year. But City have evolved again. And they are just so much better. They are a better team than us. They play better football than us. And they are better at playing that style of football than anybody else. So what we have to do is we may not match them on goal difference, but at least the least we can do is at least try and win every single game we can. All I want to see from our players, I want to see effort. If I see effort, 100% effort, everybody giving 100% effort, and you lose, you draw, you win, whatever, you can at least say, well, you know what? Every single one of those players tried. They busted their arse in that game, and they really, really tried. And there's no more that you can ask for that. It just means that the other team was better than you. Now, I don't see that happening against Fulham. I think against Fulham, we should be able to go into this game, and we should be able to win this game. I'm going to give the same score prediction I gave in my last preview against Red Star, so hopefully it doesn't bite me in the arse. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory for Liverpool. I hope we don't concede, but I'm going to go for 3-1 just for a little bit of realism that we might concede, just because of confidence levels at the moment. But I really hope, I think that we can win this game and hopefully instill some more confidence in this team, more confidence from the fan base as well. And I just hope that we can pull out the victory. I really do. Anyway, that's my preview for Liverpool versus Fulham at the weekend. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you are new around here. And thank you so much for watching as always. I'll catch you later.